Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So today we are going to talk about three different players and we are first going to talk about Carles Alena. So according to Rack 1, Barcelona are counting on Carles Alena for next season and have informed Betis that they will recover him once his loan ends at the end of this season. And so this is some great news because for a second there, I really thought that we were going to lose Carles Alena. Like I really thought that he was going to go to Real Betis and repeat the exact same history that Batra and Teo had when they went to Real Betis. And there also has been multiple sources claiming that Real Betis were going to ask FC Barcelona if they could borrow Carles Alena for another loan season. Because this pandemic that came through was very unexpected. It made Real Betis unable to satisfy Carles Alena's 6-month loan. But Barcelona said no. They said no way. We are going to keep Carles Alena. He is coming with us next season. Like, are we going to let Carles Alena go? That will not be the case this year. Carles Alena is our player. He is not a Real Betis player. He is a FC Barcelona player. He is good enough to start in that starting 11. Now, previously, back in the winter of 2019, Carles Alena was very frustrated because he did not get the minutes that he felt like he deserved, especially when he played under Valverde. But according to Sport, it says that Quique Setién really counts on Carles Alena and he counts on him to come back to the club. And if I were Carles Alena and I knew that Barcelona had a new coach and that new coach was calling my name to come back to the club, I would not hesitate, not waste not 1 minute to come back to FC Barcelona and restart and make history at FC Barcelona. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Aleña plays under Quique Setién. And the other question is going to be, with Carles Alena at FC Barcelona, how is the midfield going to look? And I think there's only one solution to this. That's going to be De Jong, Arthur, and Carles Alena. And with that midfield, you can go many places. And this could potentially be the birth of a new midfield for years to come. And this midfield could be possible and it could work because Quique Setién is a coach that demands relentless pressing from his midfield. And the only way to achieve that is to have fresh young legs in that midfield and have those players understand where to position themselves best in order to have an effective press. And that trio that I just named there, which is De Jong, Arthur, and Carles Alena, are capable to do that. They are more than ready to function well under Quique Setién. And this is not just going to do well for Carles Alena, this is also could do well to La Masia. This could tell La Masia and let them know that there is still a chance that players in the Barca B can still come into FC Barcelona and start in the starting 11. You might go through a few bumps, but eventually you could get there. And Carles Alena is that player that showed that you should never give up, even if it means that you have to go on loan to another team. You could potentially brought back, and that is worst case scenario. So Carles Alena is a great example for La Masia, and I can't wait to see Carles Alena play for FC Barcelona next season. Now moving on to the next news of the day, and we are going to talk about Lautaro Martinez. So according to multiple sources, it says here in Spain, namely Mundo Deportivo and Sport, who have reported this, said that Barcelona will present an offer of 60 million euros plus 2 players to Inter Milan for their Argentine forward, who is Lautaro Martinez. And the players mentioned and that have been rumored is Ivan Rakitic, Samuel Umtiti, Arturo Vidal, Firpo, and Nelson Semedo. And this should be no surprise because we have been hearing the vice president of FC Barcelona claiming that a lot of trade deals was going to happen, and here it is. This is the first report. This is what we are going to see all summer. Now, I closely want to look at each of these players and understand their situation. Like, is it possible for them to say, yes, I will go to Inter Milan? And let's first start with Ivan Rakitic. So with Ivan Rakitic, he has claimed that his next destination is Sevilla. He loves Sevilla and he wishes that he could wear the Sevilla shirt again. Then if we move on to Samuel Umtiti, it has been reported by Once Mundial that Umtiti could be the defender to replace Thiago Silva, and that would be the perfect transfer because Umtiti will be going back to his homeland. Then if we look at Arturo Vidal, right, and this player has been linked with Inter Milan since January of 2020. He was very close to join that team, and he has worked with Conte, who is the Inter Milan coach at the moment. He has worked with that coach before. Then if we move on to Firpo, there has been no reports on Firpo lately, and Firpo has stated to the public that he does want to stay at FC Barcelona and make a name for himself. Then if we move on to Nelson Semedo, this player, when it comes to this player, Barcelona was trying to put Nelson Semedo into a deal last summer, summer, which was in the summer of 2019, but it never turned out to go through. And Barcelona is looking to bring in Emerson back into FC Barcelona, which is going to be the third right back if Nelson Semedo stays. And they have been scouting Cancelo from Manchester City. So now looking at all of these 5 players that have been listed, the 2 players that really do come out that have the biggest possibility and that makes the most sense to leave Barcelona for Inter Milan would be Nelson Semedo and Arturo Vidal. I believe these are the 2 players that Barcelona are going to end up sending to Inter Milan, because there are more backup options for Nelson Semedo and Arturo Vidal than there are for Samuel Umtiti, Rakitic, and Firpo. And out of those 3 players, which is Rakitic, Umtiti, and Firpo, 2 of those players would much rather go to a different club than Inter Milan. So stay with me here, because I'm really starting to trim down these players and understand what are the 2 players that are most likely to go to that club, which is Inter Milan. And we have also heard reports of Barcelona looking for a player that has legs, that has the physicality, the player that can run from box to box, which is the Vidal replacement. So you see how I'm giving you guys all of these evidence and is giving you a better idea on who these 2 players can actually be out of these 5 players. And the one question that we, like the fans, FC Barcelona, the people from the board, the players, the question that we all have to ask is, can these 2 players strengthen Inter Milan? And that is a question that we really have to consider, because if Inter Milan is not satisfied with these 2 players, they're not going to let Lautaro Martinez go. So even if it looks good on our end, Inter Milan may say these 2 players tactically will not help us. And look, at the end of the day, Inter Milan just want the 111 million euros in cash. They don't want 2 players. Maybe Arturo Vidal, but they do want the 111 million. And for us to give Inter Milan 60 million plus 2 players, Inter Milan could say, yeah, no way, we're going to take 60 million plus 2 of your players. And that is the fear that Barcelona have. And let me explain what I mean. So there are sources claiming that the wealthiest sides in England, in Spain, in France have been tracking Lautaro Martinez, which means that they could potentially bid for this player in the summer of 2020, which in result could drive the price up, because when you do bid for a player, multiple clubs are going to say, I'll give you 90 million, I'll give you 100 million, or another club can say, I'll give you 120 million. So United and Madrid have been interested, but the one club that could really make the Lautaro Martinez operation fail for FC Barcelona is PSG, because PSG will be on the market. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of one player, and that is Edison Cavani. He is the player set to leave for free in the summer, and it's very unlikely that PSG is going to want to activate the option to sign Icardi, and in result PSG could potentially bid for Lautaro Martinez. And we know how PSG are when it comes to the transfer market. PSG is that club that are willing to put in massive amounts of money in order to complete a deal. And it has been reported by ESPN that PSG could offer a better deal to Inter Milan and give Lautaro Martinez a better wage deal. And that is the last thing that Barcelona want, because if Barcelona really do want Lautaro Martinez this summer, they're going to have to match what PSG is giving them. So if Barcelona really do give in Nelson Semedo and Vidal plus 60 million in cash, will that be enough for Inter Milan to say, yes, we will take that deal for Lautaro Martinez? I'll let you guys decide that. Now, the last topic of the day, I do want to talk about Luis Suarez. And it has been official that Luis Suarez gets the green light to train with the first team. He has fully recovered. And it feels like this pandemic was a blessing in disguise for FC Barcelona in a way, because by the time La Liga does come back, Luis Suarez will be back fully recovered. And then we also have Dembele, who will be close to recovery also. And we haven't heard no news yet about Dembele, but he is getting there. He is getting closer to full recovery. And again, this is some very good news to hear, because around this time, this was the time where Luis Suarez was expected to come back, which was in the end of April or like the beginning of May. And Luis Suarez has made it through. And the big question that Quique Setién will need to figure out is, what is that front three going to look like now when we do get back into La Liga? Could we use Griezmann, Suarez, Messi, or could we use Griezmann, Messi, and and Martin Braithwaite and give Suarez a slow start. So Quique Setién does have a lot to think about because this is one problem. The other problem that he will need to find is what's he going to do with Dembele? What is that front three going to look like? Quique Setién might say we could put Messi, Dembele, and Suarez in that front three. This will be the first time that Quique Setién will have the full attacking options in his hands. So it's going to be a good problem to have and also very exciting. So that is it for today's Barcelona Daily News. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.